I didn't mention that we have also 10-second warning. This is going to be shown to the candidate. We're not going to interrupt any candidate or meeting. Okay? When your time is up, please stop. All right, we have our first candidate.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm glad to be here. My name is Jacqueline Cummings, and I have been a resident for the past 4 years. I do not enjoy the unsatisfied difficulties, challenges, and solutions that we have had in the past 3 years and more. Even though I have been a resident. I try to understand the reason and purpose with all of this unsolved problems that we have in our community. And it's about time we do some reform. Let's start looking at accountability, integrity, and investing in our community. Because right about now, all of these unsolved problems that we have is totally unacceptable. When I am elected as a trustee, with the leader not Vincent before the mayor, one thing will be reform, accountability, integrity, trust, and investing. This will be a strong concern and interest in improving the village financial matters, water infrastructure, budget of the village, and our overall operation, as far as bringing growth and satisfaction to the residents in the village. My professional background in real estate, property management, with a strong educational background in accounting, business administration, and real estate, would be much help to work with the vendor contractors to improve any crisis within our water infrastructure, streets and sidewalk, and ongoing board up foreclosure problems within the community. Again, I will submit to you to vote for it. Reform citizen, be not in the board as the winner. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I am Francine Anderson, and as you know, I am a 29-year resident of Sauk Village. I have previously served one term as a trustee in the Sauk Village municipality board. Currently, I am participating on the zoning committee as well as continuing to be active as a member of two not-for-profits that are very involved here in the city. One called the Sauk Village Citizens for Public Awareness, and the other one is Sauk Village Citizens Empowerment Organization. Those are two 501c3s who are seeking to inform people in the community. Those are my current community activities. As you know, many of us know about our current goals. They extend from water to our infrastructure, to activities for our youth, to our economic development, as well as our debt services. As a part of improving those activities, I'm asking you to vote for Francine Anderson and the Citizens Empowerment Party, because we have currently put together a strategic plan that will look at how do we seek information as well as funding to improve the infrastructure, to improve the types of programs and activities that we offer. And we all have learned from the last administration that you need a team of people in order to do the work. Instead of having a team that will only lead us down a negative road, let's have a team that will lead us to a positive road by finding funding to deal with our deficits, to finding monies and implementing the current infrastructure plan, not just wanting to put Wells 3 online, which we know cannot happen, but to find a solution so that we can bring more economics into our town. Who is coming when we have nothing to offer? We have to become our own marketplace, and our team is willing to do that. I say, consider giving me your vote. I'm Francine Anderson, and I am a part of the Citizens Empowerment. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Rosie Williams. I'm currently your village trustee. I've been a trustee for years now. I was elected at the age of 22 and sworn in at the age of 23. I am an independent candidate, and I think that independence is important because, as we've seen, sometimes you need to be able to stand up and take your own voice. If you've seen any of my literature, you understand that I would like to restore the pride and progress back to the village of Sauk Village. Pride started with positivity. There's been much negativity in the past term and the past 8 years before that. We need to remember that this village is positive. Responsibility. I want to make sure that as a trustee, I continue to be responsible for not only my actions, but the actions of the board. Because even though there are 6 trustees, the board decisions are everybody's responsibility. Integrity. I want to make sure that we can maintain having that integrity individually as well as a board. Dedication. Like I said, I've been a trustee for 8 years, and I would greatly appreciate your support in contributing another 4 years. And experience. I invite you to look at my experience. Look at what I've done, read my literature, and look to see what I would like to do. Again, my name is Rosie Williams, and I would appreciate your support.
Hi, I'm Beth Zufon. Thank you all very much for taking time out of your Saturday afternoon to join us today. For those who don't already know me, my husband Albert and I have lived in the village for the past 13 years, and we've got a vested interest in the future of this community, which is why I am very interested in running for the 4-year position of trustee. From a background perspective, I've been in the financial services industry for the last 28 years. I've grown my way up to the middle management section right now. And in that time, that means I've dealt with a lot of people, different personalities, different backgrounds, so diversity is core to my bones. Always working in a team environment. And throughout that time, I've gained a lot of skills that have helped me be successful in that job. Things like organization, proactivity, the orientation to detail, having an open-minded approach to dealing with the challenges ahead. A lot of things that are transferable to the position of trustee. At the same time, too, I'm involved in the community here as well. When we moved to Sauk Village, I started to get involved with my local homeowners association, and from there it grew into being involved with the village quickly. I've been on the Housing Authority, the Ordinance Review Committee. I'm currently on the Economic Development and the Beautification Committees. I'm also a prior village clerk. I would ask that you consider your vote for me on April 9th. I'm part of the People's Unity Party, but before I'm a part of a party, I'm an individual. I share the goals of my team. We do have a strategic plan that addresses the challenges of our village. I have a bio in here that speaks to my priorities, which is #1, getting our village back in solvency from a financial standpoint, and I need your support to do that. It's going to take all of us working together. Thank you. Please sit.
No, I haven't. Okay. I missed it. Okay, thanks. Good afternoon. My name is Curry Kellamine. I'm with the Citizens Empowerment Party. I generally do like to stand when I speak just to make sure I see everybody in eye contact. My wife and I, we moved here, it'll be 6 years in August. I really love the possibilities that I see in Sauk Village. My background, I am a local 1 journeyman iron worker. So as a tradesman, one of the things that I have learned that I see to be universal with all things is that if you do not have a strong foundation, you cannot build it. That is one of the things that I do for a living. I build foundation. I started a nonprofit organization about four years ago, and it is specifically dedicated to working with young people. I should say the bulk of our work is with young people. I see that as being one of the major thrusts and necessities that we have within our community here. There's wonderful diversity. And also I'd like to say, and I know I only have 2 minutes to say this, that I'm encouraged by the amount of people, the number of people that we have on the ballot. What that says is that we have people who are concerned about Sauk Village. As a member of, as part of Citizens Empowerment Party, I am not beholden to a party, but an ideal. And I believe everybody feels that way. The whole point of what we do, of why we're all here, is to be empowered, is to have all of our voices heard, and for us all to succeed. Regardless of who comes out as the victor, it will still require the cooperation and the involvement of all of us. So I hope that regardless of what happens, that we still have the same level of commitment and the same level of involvement that we see here today. My name is Tariq Amin, and I look forward to serving you and serving all of us. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Edward Myers. I'm seeking re-election for trustee of the Sauk Village. First of all, I want to wish good luck to each and every one of the candidates running for the election. My family and I have lived in Sauk Village for 42 years. My wife Carol and I raised 3 children here at Sauk Village. We enjoyed the quiet, peaceful of the village. Our children were able to participate in many activities at the village furnace. The first year we lived in Sauk Village, I became a volunteer firefighter. I'm still president volunteer firefighter, ranked as assistant chief. I also serve on 2 state boards, one being the Illinois State Firefighter Association, and also belong to the Mavis 27 Arson Investigation Team as the lead coordinator. Fortunately, I have 2 sons that decided to follow my footsteps. My oldest son, Park Forest, and my youngest son is the acting lieutenant on the Pirates here. My wife Carol also has dedicated herself to Sauk Village for the last 40 years or so. She's been a lady auxiliary president, and she served on almost many committees I have. In 1986, I worked with Sauk Village. I worked until 2002. At that time, Mayor Sherman was figured to ask me to come over and put together a code enforcement and building inspection services for his town. Working with Sauk Village, I was the superintendent of the building and code enforcement division. Also now, president as a trustee, I serve on the committee at the church. I've seen the village in the highest peak. I've also seen the village in a very low area. But you know, each and every one of those levels, on the bad, we was able to pull out. We pulled out of that because why? Because we all work together, including the residents and the board. That's the only way we're going to make this work, by working together. I'm seeking re-election, and there's a lot of other items that we need to go over. I don't have time to cover each one, but I'll be glad to meet with each and every one of you after the meeting to discuss it. Thank you.
Hello, everybody. My name is Carla Phillips. I've lived in the village now almost 8 years. In my 8 years of being here, I've seen a constant decline, and it saddens me. And I don't speak from a piece of paper. I speak from my heart. I look in this room, and I've said it once before in this room, I see a divide. I see black people here, and I see white people there. We can't come together and make a difference here, even as us as politicians running for political office, unless we get together out there. It's about the citizens, letting us know what it is they desire, what they need to bring this village back to what it can be. This is what we need. The voices that we hear up here will never make a difference until you guys start making a difference with us. I have a background in the legal industry. I've been in the legal industry for about 25 years. They local banking, transactional, real estate, estate planning. I've got a long background behind me of organization and research skills. Those are the things I plan to bring to the table. I understand that the body of the trustee is a legislative body. It's not to run the day-to-day operations of the village. We need to understand what our place is in order to do the job that we need to do. Yes, I am running on the reform, the Citizens for Reform under Enoch Benson Premier. I also am an individual capable of standing up for what I believe in. I'm not run by anybody. I make decisions based on what's right, not what's popular. And I am hoping that you guys will consider that and vote for me as trustee.
My name is Linda Washington, and I'm running for trustee for the 4-year term seat for the Village of Sauk Village on April 9, 2013. I have been living in the village approximately 20 years. When we moved to Sauk Village, my husband and I immediately began to plan programs that our children, my nieces, my nephews, they could might visit during the summer months, and that my son could participate in the Sauk Village. Upon going to the Ed Pazel Center, I found out that there were a few programs for the youth, and I was happy to find that out. 20 years later, I see that we have had a decline in those youth programs, mostly because we have had a decline in volunteers. I began to volunteer at the community center for the Parks and Recs. After volunteering at the Parks and Recs, I also heard about the situation with the water out here, how bad the water was in Sauk Village. I would then join the committee for Lake Michigan Water. Since that time, I have expressed many interests in living in Sauk Village. Currently, I am employed for West Harvey School District 147, the School District 147 in Harvey, Illinois, where I have been employed for almost 25 years as an administrative assistant to the principal at Lincoln School. Also, I would like to say I expressed interest recently as a commissioner for the Human Relations Committee, because that commission, a part of that commission is to bring diversity and unity to the entire community, which I am also very keen in doing. I would just like to say, as a secretary for Sauk Village Public Awareness, making the citizens aware of what's going on in the village, it's always been my concern to make sure that we impart to the village the truth. People will tell you many things that's going on in Sauk Village. They'll tell you about the water, they'll tell you about the gangs, hearing about the break-ins. I became concerned on another level, where I got active in co-chairing the Neighborhood Watch. One of my desires is to bring the Neighborhood Watch program, which is very, very instrumental right now, to an entire village level. Working on these different committees in Sauk Village has been a great eye-opener for me. My name is Linda Washington, and I'm asking for your support.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Eddie Kimball. I'm running for trustee in the Village of Sauk Village with Mr. Enoch Denson, the fourth running for mayor. I'm running for the 4-year term. I moved to Sauk Village a little over 7 years ago looking for a dream. I lived in Inglewood. I lived in Marquette Park. I was raised in Bellwood. When I moved to Sauk Village, my dream came true. I wanted a place that was quiet, peaceful, where the deers roam at night, and where my children can go out and play. In the last 7 years, I have seen that dream dissolve. It has dissolved for many reasons. A lot of you all know what those reasons are. But what can we do to change those behaviors and those reasons? One of the reasons I'm running for trustee is because I believe with my background, I bring not only information, but I bring love and character and integrity to the village. I have raised over 12 children, 9 of which I've raised in this village. They went from Wagner to Bloom Trail. I have been a part of this village, although maybe not in your eyes, but in the eyes of the community. The children on the block call me Red. They call me Pops, because they understand I know what they're going through, and I give them a voice. I talk to them and I counsel them. I help them understand that crime is not the way. I help them understand that there are choices that we can make, and every choice has a consequence. I am asking for your vote on April 9th of this year for trustee, so that on a larger scale, on a larger level, I can help our young men and women in this village call this village home, as I chose to do over 7 years ago. Thank you very much. God bless.
Okay, our first question will be going to Francine. This is a question by Person Harry and Debbie. Do you believe in a diverse community and plan to welcome representation of all residents, no matter their color, ethnicity, and the other part comes in with what would you do to stop the racial division in Sauk Village? First of all, I think diversity is very important, and not only is it diversity, let's call it multiculturalism, because that means not only do you look at our skin colors, but you look at the culture that we all bring, because we all have an ethnic background or a culture that we were raised in that is different, although we might look different, and that difference can bring some positiveness. It can give us all an experience of bringing something new to the table, something where you can learn something from me and I can learn something from you. I've never met anyone that I couldn't learn from. So in taking that emphasis, that's how I would work at stopping the racial divide. Bringing some activities that will bring us all together. We already have some examples of that, but in doing so, we just can enhance that by bringing more of those types of activities. The beautification committee does a very good job with that when they bring us all together to bring together a garden that will have all of us and our children experience the joy of having good food, organic food raised, and it doesn't matter about who helps with the garden. So we all have that common experience. So.
First of all, I think that's a great question. Partially and mostly because this, as another candidate stated, this community has been divided. And I think it's just an absolute shame. I think that working as a diverse unit is the only way this village can go forward. If you've been out here for any amount of time, longer than 10 years, you'll see that the ethnic background has changed. I think that's a good thing. I think that we all need to be a part of that. Chicago is a city of neighborhoods. America is a melting pot, and we need to go with that moving forward on. I think that the only way you can continue to do that is have different people of different backgrounds on this board. That being stated, as a trustee, I will work with whoever was up there, regardless of any type of background that they have, and encourage education for some of the new residents, for some of the new people, to know what we need to do, what we need to do to move forward.
The last I knew, I think we all bleed red, right? So no matter what our background, our skin color, our religious beliefs, our sexual orientation, at the end of the day, we're all human beings, and we all have to live together and get along together. And we have to find a way to make that happen in this village so that we can move forward and regain the stability that we once had. A lot of this has to do with programs. A lot of the programs have to do with funding, which goes back to we need money and the financial stability of this community. We have to be creative with how we fund those activities. But it goes back to activities, making all of those available to the community as a whole. We have to make sure that we're addressing it for children, young adults, seniors, everyone. And we need to make that happen out of the gate.
I think there's a divide. Divides only exist when you don't know one another. Knowing people helps you to make an informed decision. It helps us to see our commonalities. It helps us to see that we share the same core values. We have the same concerns. We all want our children to do whatever. We want to have economic security. We want to have safety. We want to be able to leave our car windows down. We can't do that now, but we want to be able to do those things. So my experience, my life experience, working across racial, ethnic, cultural lines, it has helped me to see that there is only one race in here, and that is the human race. And when you see that, you don't have a problem sitting down with someone else who does not look like you. So I invite those situations. I look forward to those conversations, because the more we have those, the less division we have.
Thank you. Well, we all know this in this room tonight, we all know the village made up black, white, Mexican, etc., almost every nationality you can think of. And over the past, I'll say about the last 10 years, we've all learned to live together. We're going to have to continue to live together. I will set up committees to have meetings and everything where we can do that. I'll meet with the church organization, see if we can meet with their organizations and push unity. I would work with the young youth in our area. They do it nowadays. We have our children going to public schools, and they're sitting next to African American, Chinese, whatever. They live together. Why can't we do it? The other thing that is most important of all of this, we as adults have to show our children, which is the upcoming to this village. We have to show them what it's all about. We have to put the argument forward, live together. We're all God's children. Thank you.
Had an opportunity to participate in a diversity training program. And what we found out in that program is that we all pretty much think alike. We believe a lot of the same things. We want a lot of the same things. We may eat different foods, but what we find out is that in the end, we've got to come together. We found out that we loved, we shared, we got sad, we had the same issues. That being said, we need diversity training. That's where it steps in at. Children, when you put them in a room together, they do not know that they're black and white. That's learned behavior. And over the years, we've learned bad behavior. And guess what? We're smart enough and intelligent enough to understand that and know that we need diversity training.
As an independent candidate, I have worked very hard through the Neighborhood Watch program to try to kill some of the fears, if I can use that word, and some of the misconceptions that different nationalities have toward other nationalities. I've been able to do that on a small scale, working through the Neighborhood Watch program. People coming out, expressing their concerns about their homes being broken into, and just letting them know that we have to all learn how to watch out for one another. We are all neighbors. We all live in the same village together. I would like to build a mentoring program, not just for different ethnicities only, but also age. You would be surprised to know some grandparents that have some good funny stories to tell young people. And when you listen to different people of different cultures, sometimes you can respect their culture a little bit better. They're not as bad as you thought that they were. So educating the community, educating people, having the chance to communicate and talk to one another and to share ideas, I think that that will bring a little bit more cohesiveness among the residents. We can work better together as well. Getting to know your neighbor.
In the 7 years that I've been here, I keep hearing the number 10. Every year I watch my community change at a minimum of twice a year. Our community is changing very rapidly. And when I look in this room, I see people that I love the most because I was raised mostly by my grandmother more so than I was by my own parents. I have a heart for the elderly, and I have a heart for people in general. That's why I have always been successful in every endeavor that I've stepped forward. I think one of the things we lack is understanding. If I understand you and who you are and what you would like, and you understand who I am, then we can work together with a common goal and achieve that goal. All we need to do is talk. The problem is we don't talk with, we talk at. We need a government body that will help us talk with each other, help us understand each other, so that together we can move forward and make Sauk Village our home.
Diversity is a strong belief that I enjoy as far as communicating with people, the residents, with anything to people with different backgrounds have always impressed me and intrigued me because we can learn. I enjoy going to dinner with different people from different cultural backgrounds. I enjoy going to social settings and all of the above. And I also enjoy people in my community in Sauk Village because I live in a diverse community. And I'm always there for them as a captain of the neighborhood watch to answer all of their questions and everything like that. I enjoy all of this. I enjoy all of our goals to want the same thing, right? So, housing, good housing, voting, and etc. Thank you.
This question came from Fran. Background checks are required for village employees and certain volunteers. Should trustees be required to have a background check too? They are responsible for village finance.
Again, I think that's a great question, and I think that that's an amazing idea. For the reason you just stated, actually, was what I was thinking when you were talking. As a trustee, you are in charge of the purse strings of the village. You are the one that's going to say yes or no to purchases. And I think that it would not be a bad idea at all. And I think that anybody who would want to be a trustee should not in any way deny the right to have a background check. I think that if you've taken the time to be a part of public office, then your life becomes public. And so I would not have a problem at all. And I think it's something that this next administration should look into.
Those background checks are in place for a very good reason when we look for volunteers that are wanting to work with our children. And as trustees, we also would be interacting with children as well as other residents. If you're in the financial services industry, you have to be bonded to have your job. It's a term for employment. So yes, as a public employee, as a person entrusted with the running of your village, you want to know that you're comfortable with who's representing you day to day through the life of your involvement in the village. So definitely yes, background checks are certainly something we should be doing. And I'm almost surprised that we don't.
I'm also in favor of background checks for those who are looking to be trustees. I had a background check done on myself when I was appointed to an advisory council by Governor Flynn. I continued to serve on that, and I figured if just operating in an advisory capacity, I had to submit to a background check, it makes sense that if you're going to be an elected official, that you would have a background check. So actually, I'm surprised that that is not standard. So that is something that definitely should be on the table for discussion in the future.
Thank you. I'm also in favor of a background check. I think we should have a background check for anything. The trustees, the mayor, clerk, everybody. I've had one done every year. I work for a government body, and every year they do a background check on it. You know, the world's changing. You never know who's going to be talking or dealing with your children. Yes, I think it's a wonderful idea to have a background check on any employee for the village from there on down.
It's nice to know we all agree on one thing. I too am in agreement that we should all have background checks. There are very few places of employment that you can get a job and not have a background check before you get that job. It's important because you're dealing with money, you're dealing with people, you're dealing with children. There's nothing else to be said. If this next administration does not put that in place, shame on them.
Yes, I absolutely believe that every trustee should have a background check. I currently am employed by the Board of Education. I have had a background check because I work with children and have over the last 25 years. I also had a background check when I became the president for my local union with ASME, Local 93. When I applied to continue to work with the Parks and Rec in Sauk Village, I applied to have a background check right here with our own Sauk Village Police Department. I believe that it's crucial and it's very sensitive that we have background checks because we're going to be able to go into homes. Sometimes there will be situations where you have seniors that may be in trouble and you have to go in. They could have money, jewelry, valuables out. You have to have integrity. And people need to know who they're working with. I think it is very crucial and it is very important that we all have background checks on a nationwide level.
I am definitely in favor of background checks. When I became a member of the Better Business Bureau, I had to have a background check for my business. When I became an employee with JP Morgan Chase as a branch manager, I had to have a background check check. Same with Fifth Third Bank. In every entity of employment that I've had for the last 15 years, I've had to have a background check. I like background checks because it gives you the advantage not only to see your background, but to see if someone did something in your name that you were not aware of. So it's more than just sitting on the board saying, hey, check me out. It also protects you as well as the governing body of this village, as well as every citizen who resides in this village.
Yes, I believe in that background checks myself. I think we should be professional and mandatory. It is always was a requirement for me to work before the education and real estate and the property management. In addition to this, a background check shows an individual or a person's trustworthiness, honesty, status, and the character of the individual are performing. And this should be done in all communities, or we're trying to find out who this individual actually is and get any type of information with them.
Not much more that can be said, but yes, I will agree with the background check. But also, I think Beth brought up an excellent point in her description of adding the background checks, and that is bondage. We do, as trustees, manage a lot of the money, only manage all of your fiscal dollars. And in doing so, the bondage, making sure that you take extra steps, an additional step besides just the background. And also, as a part of that background check, with the appropriations of your dollars, you will have some idea of what has been the past experiences of those who are entitled to manage and appropriate your dollars. So again, yes, I do agree with that.
Okay, the next question is from Karen. Do you know the responsibilities and authority of the trustee position in Sauk Village?
Yes, technically, the trustee position, the board is responsible for running your village. That means passing, it's a legislative body. We pass ordinances and we, as if I'm already up here. With your votes, I will be up here. But we pass ordinances and resolutions, we appropriate funds. We should balance a budget on an annual basis and then approve all expenditures that go out of this village. We are responsible for maintaining a minimum of 3 committees, and we have other committees and commissions as well. We interact with other organizations across the Southland area as well as the state level, trying to make sure that we get funded. But at the beginning of everything, this is a legislative body responsible for governing your community.
I think this will turn into one of those hard to expound on answers. But yes, the trustees are a legislative body. I mean, if you look at a municipality like a corporation, the trustees are responsible for running the business. It's the board of directors, basically. They're responsible for not only for funding, for making sure that that we do have a balanced budget, which is in these economic times is really rough to achieve that. But they're responsible for the day-to-day, for funding, they're responsible for making sure that the village has funds to perform this business, to provide services, and also for making sure that there are relationships with other municipalities on the state level, and representing the village on a Springfield. So that would be
All right, what is a trustee? Good question. I said trustee, and I have been in the role of the same position for 4 years. Well, we set up the laws and ordinances of the village. First, we have to have a majority vote. Rerun, whatever answer the question comes to, the trustee will vote on that and make a decision for the residents. We passed the annual budget. We work together with department heads and make sure the money goes where it's supposed we each have to sit on a certain committee. And we govern that committee and we give a report at our meeting. And the biggest thing we do, we help our residents. That's what we're here for. We help them see, get them assistance in way they can.
Hi, again, trustees, we have to follow state law. And the bottom line is we are the legislative body of the village. It is our responsibility, we call them, ordinances. You'll hear the word law, ordinances, interchange. But that is our responsibility. Budgets, committees, etc. More importantly than that though, we need to, in this village, start listening to the residents of the village so that we make sure that the ordinances and laws that we put into place are conducive to those people who are here. In other words, so that those laws, those budgets, those things that need to be put in place are there to make sure that the betterment of this entire community is in effect. So it is definitely legislative and financial.
Yes, as trustees of Sauk Village, it is important, number one, that we be accountable to the people, accountable for the money, accountable for the employees, to be due diligent, to make sure that we follow all of the proper procedures, and to make sure that we are informing the residents of everything that's going on in the village because it's their money. It's the homeowners' money, it's the taxpayers' money that we are spending when we are passing and we're voting on different bills to be paid, to make sure that we thoroughly investigate what we're paying and that we are not just spending the money of the taxpayers in Sauk Village, but that we are being good stewards over all of the things they have entrusted us to do, that we have integrity and that we vote with our conscience. And as an independent candidate, that's why I ran on the independent status, because I wanted to make sure that I would not have to be accountable to any group of people, but I would only be accountable to the citizens to be a trustworthy and a trustworthy.
Yes, I do know the role of the trustee, as it has been aforementioned many times. A trustee is a person who embarks or take care of the legislation part of the village. I say that hesitantly because in the 7 years that I have been here, that's not the role that I've seen. What a trustee really should be doing is talking with the residents in the community, not just 4 months before election. Every day, every week, every month, we need to know what's happening in our village so that when we come to these meetings, we can represent our home as a community and as a body. We are the checks and the balances of this community. We should not be passing anything without the vote of the board. We should not be hiring and doing other things without the vote of the board. Again, it's checks and balances from what you, the residents, say needs to be done in our village.
The trustee, that is, the legislative body for us in this community, and what they should be doing is responsible for doing any inappropriate funding or appropriate funding according to the operating budget. This should be closely watched at all times, because in the past, and at this current time, we don't even know over right now, as far as the operating budget. We are also in bed at this time, so that has not been closely watched in the past, and we need to start watching it in the future. And that's what the trustee should be doing at all times. And interacting with the resident to make sure their needs are met within this community and their concerns as far as streets and sanitation, water, and housing situation. Thank you.
Yes, I know the responsibilities of being a trustee, and part of that, I agree with everything that's been said, so not to be being repetitive and repeat all of that. Just a couple of things. Yes, we are legislative where we do set the laws of the village by the ordinance, the resolutions. Yes, we do look at your budget and your financing, and we also decide where to try to get more money from, as well as how to spend your money. And then the other thing I think that was missed, and Ed said it best, is we help the citizens, we help our other residents try to make this a good place to live. And I think the last thing would be, we would want to lead by example. We want to make sure that we are being a very valuable, honest person with some integrity, as well as being responsible and having some transparency in what we do, providing services to other residents. We want to be treated fairly and equitably, just like everyone else. And that would be the greatest role of a trustee.
The roles and responsibilities of a trustee. Being the last one to answer the question, you've heard about ordinances, you've heard about the accountability of the budget and everything else. Some things that have been overseen. Working with the mayor to oversee the village departments, making sure that our police department, our public works department, our ESTA department, our fire department, that they have the resources that they need to bring the services to you that you need. Working with the residents to make sure that their concerns are not only heard and validated, but resolved as quickly as possible. Working together to promote Sauk Village in a positive light. We've talked about the negativity in Sauk Village. We need to forget that. We need to move forward and be positive. It is our responsibility to stay educated and do the necessary research. Once you're elected, that doesn't stop. You need to make sure that you continue forward. And lastly, good leaders promote more leaders. They do not promote followers. So we need to make sure that as leaders, we encourage people to become leaders in the future.
As a trustee, you will be responsible for the committee. How familiar are you with activities of the committee? And you would like to share, and what would you do to improve it?
Well, I am never one to give an answer to a question that I don't know. My participation, I've been to board meetings, I'm aware of the hospitality, police, community. From my understanding, one committee that I would like to participate in is that which works with our law enforcement. I think that the culture of any municipality is greatly impacted by the way that people perform their and having so many youth out here, I've had lots of conversations with our youth who feel that they have been at times unfairly, or they don't really appreciate the way that they've been interacted with. So I would like to be able to be in a position that I can help to foster some dialogue and bring about a better culture.
As a trustee, I'm chairman of the Ordinance Review Committee. And we run our Ordinance Review Committee if the residents have a concern that they want to put forth, so the trustees will listen to see if we can get a vote, they can produce it into an ordinance. So you need the input of our residents. So I'll make sure their input comes into it. I'm well versed in how to run a committee. I sit on the state board, and I also run a state committee. So that's been no problem. But there's a lot of times when you get your committee together and you have your members have a openly discussion that doesn't quite agree with you. That I will take back to the trustees and I'll get their input. if I would ask the committee, I would like to see a finance committee.
My passion is our young people out here. Again, one of the things that he said is that sometimes they're just targeted. I just recently changed my major from business to psychology. My children know that I'm the type of person I will run out and break up a fight because you're not big enough or bad enough to stop me. That being said, we have to engage our youth. And my heart is Parks and Rec, because I want to definitely deal with the young people that are out here. We have to have positive sanctions for them. And the only way we're going to do that is engage them in conversation and not treat them as if they're pariah. The only way we can do that is not be afraid of them, but talk to them. And we should not have our elderly afraid to walk down the street because we're afraid. So that's where my passion and my heart is working with Parks and Rec and our youth.
Definitely without hesitation, I would have to say the Neighborhood Watch Program, only because I have already started the Neighborhood Watch Program and co-chairing that with Trustee Myers. I have seen the desire for people to want to feel safe in their homes. And when you eliminate people onto the different avenues that they have with the police department, they can call in anonymously. We set up a system. A lot of people fear retaliation. They don't want to call and let the police know when something is happening on their block because the police will either come to their residence or they fear for retaliation. But Trustee Myers and I will set up a mechanism where you can call Trustee Myers and he can call the police department. So just making sure that we expand that program on a village-wide level. Also, economic development. I am very concerned about the economic development in Sauk Village. As you know, we have many businesses that came to Sauk Village. We have also recently had many businesses that have moved out of Sauk Village. I have sat on that committee briefly, and I have talked and brought other interest developers to talk to Trustee Burgess about economic development, and I would love to continue to do that.
My heart goes to the Park and Rec Committee. However, any committee that I am appointed to, I would serve wholeheartedly. The first thing I understand is it will not be business as usual. If it's business as usual, we'll keep getting what we're getting. You know the old saying about insanity, right? If you keep doing what you're doing but expecting a different result, that's insanity. We need to change how we're looking at things and how we're promoting activities, not only for our youth, but for our elderly. We need to have some sort of common ground where we can come together and everyone understand each other. The housing, we know that that's a bad fix right now for every community, not just Sauk Village. Economic development. Part of my background at JP Morgan Chase was going out to businesses and talking with them and helping them understand how to get different loans and lines of credit. I can bring all of these integral parts to the village as your trustee. Thank you.
As a trustee, my responsibilities towards the community will be to improve it. And that consists of the finance, the police department, park and recreation, which has now been done. Each and every time we have came to these meetings in the past, nothing has been resolved. All the issues come back each meeting, after meeting, after meeting, and the community hasn't done anything. Today we need to make a change. We need to start looking forward and not backwards, and come to some resolution to solve the problems that we have in our Sauk Village. Thank you.
The question asked with the committee, would I like to be the trustee over? I had two. One, I enjoyed doing the seniors before, so of course I would love to go back working with the senior committee, mainly because the senior committee was very creative in bringing some new activities to seniors that had not previously been done. We opened up and started doing quarterly activities, so I would enjoy having some activities for seniors in the day. But my passion also would be the Parks and Rec. Making our community center a center for all citizens. So we can have some activities for our youth, some activities for those of us who are in our middle ages or who are considered middle age. How about a walk park or a fitness center? big enough to have activities for everyone. The seniors have their space, so now let's have some space and activities for everyone. We can have some other activities for the children, as well as we can have some family nights and family activities. I think our community center, under my directions, can be a place where everyone in the village and city is welcome in the place.
As your current Sauk Village trustee, I currently chair the Public Relations Committee. And I think when reelected, I would like to continue to do that. As part of that committee, we have added to the website. When I received it 8 years ago, Sauk Village did have a website. It was nowhere near as informative as it was today. And I think that we would like to continue to do that. The biggest thing I would like to change within that committee is to seek funding to return the Sauk Talk to the homes of the residents. Every other month, we continue to put articles together. There has been a drop-off with some of the fellow trustees and committees to put in information, and I think that largely because it doesn't go to enough homes. They were made to be informative, but not enough people are getting them. Also, I'd like to see more funding for Student Government Day. That's something that's really near and dear to my heart. It's actually coming up this month, and if we had more funding, we would be able to return Student Government Day to the glory that it was before. Thank you.
As I mentioned in my opening comments, I've touched pretty much every committee that we have in the village today, whether it's Parks and Recs, Economic Development, Public Relations. I've actually helped with in the past. The seniors I've helped with some of their activities. Ordinance review, I sat on that with one of the prior trustees. And actually, I can't decide which I like the most. I'm a numbers person, so I like the concept of having a finance committee, which we don't have today, which goes to the point with the new mayor. I'd really like them to consider looking at all of the committees and maybe revamping what the responsibilities of the trustees is in relation to the committees. Do we have a liaison for department heads in lieu of some of the committees? Because maybe some of the committees can be run a little bit more independently than they are today. Economic development, though, has piqued my interest for a while. We've got a lot of challenges in this community, but we've also got a lot of opportunities too. If we just get involved, roll up our sleeves. Thank you.
Another question is if two or three other people are elected with you, what efforts do you make to work toward the common goal and betterment of Sauk Village? This is from Fran.
Most of the people in this room know me. I will work with anybody. And I'm a person that will, regardless of what the situation may be, I'm willing to sit down, negotiate, find a reason, find out an alternative, find out how we can do it. So yes, I will work with anybody. I have no problem. I have no problem with any of the present candidates. I wish them all good enough to look today. So I have no problem working with anybody on anything. And I think that's what it's going to take to overall. We're all working together, not apart. And that's the only way we're going to get that village back together, working together.
Many of us have heard that term, I love you, but I don't like you. Sometimes we even have that in our own homes. That being said, that's a level of respect. We don't have to like someone to respect them. Respect comes out of love, and that's what this previous administration has not had, is respect for each other, respect for the citizens. You have to work together for a common goal. It's not personal. Even though we are citizens, it's not personal. It's about everybody. So we have to learn to respect each other, and as a trustee, that's one of the things that I understand is respect. None of us like everybody that we work with every day. But we have enough sense to understand that we have to have respect for that individual in order to get the job done. That's what's important.
I would just like to say that I ran 3 years ago, and this same question was asked 3 years ago. And I took that question very seriously, and I take it very seriously today. As a matter of fact, because that question was asked 3 years ago, 2 years ago, I made sure that from that time to this time, that I was very faithful in my answer that I gave, and I just gave an answer that I thought people wanted to know, but I was pretty that answer, the yes. I would vote and work with whoever was put in office. And since that time, I have missed approximately 4 meetings. I come to every Tuesday night meeting. I've talked to everyone that currently sit as a trustee. And I have tried to bridge that gap, even with opposing opponents. During our last campaign to the present time, I have tried to bridge many gaps and to work with all people across the line. So my answer is yes, I will continue to do that, and I will continue to try to bridge the gap and reach out that olive branch so we all can have a better Sauk Village.
If elected as a trustee, I have no problems working with anyone, should they run with my slate or a different slate, as well as those who will remain in their seats. I believe that new vision should take our village to new places and higher places. I believe that the reforms that have been in place have not quite met the expectation of the citizens of the village in the last few years. So I welcome the opportunity to be the new face. I welcome the opportunity to be the new voice. I welcome the opportunity to bring new ideas to the table for us to sit down and discuss and vote upon to bring a better community to the place that we call home. Thank you.
I believe that all the trustees should work together professionally all the time, whether they're in agreement or not in agreement. They should come to the table to assist what the public and resident needs are. There shouldn't be any type of conflict or verbal threats or anything of the above. We should work as a team player within the group and within this municipal staff today. And for the village, in order for the village to be a better place to live in. Thank you.
Could you repeat the question so I can make sure I have?
If 2 or 3 others active with you, what efforts would you make to work toward council and betterment of Sauk Village?
Yes, I would agree to work with everyone. I think working together, we have an opportunity to bring all our different talents together. And in pulling those different talents from everyone together, we come to a cohesive group of people with diversity and multiculturalism that will bring such a positive outcome. There's no way when everyone works together and everyone has some respect and honor for what's being brought to the table by the other person, their other strengths, their other weaknesses, that we all do not see everything alike. So something that the other person might have or bring to the table might be just something that we all can work on. So I think it would be very important for us all to come together, to work together in order to bring some more positive growth as well as some pride and progress back to Sauk Village.
As an independent candidate, I don't have a choice. There's not going to be anybody, members of my party that I'm a party with, to be honest. I'm an independent candidate. So when I ran 8 years ago, I ran with a group. It was not a party, but it was a group. I was the only person elected on that group. At that point in time, I was on the board with people who ran with a different group, people who were already in those seats. I had to adapt. I had to understand that the number one responsibility is to keep the job at hand. We've already gone over what the responsibilities of a trustee is. As long as that's in your forefront, you know what your job is, you know the job of your fellow trustees, it should not matter who's sitting to your right or to your left, who's across you. Our job as trustees is to make sure this village goes forward, regardless of whose ideas you share and whose ideas you don't. The idea, the main goal is to make sure that Sauk Village progresses, not each individual person.
Really, this shouldn't just be about if we are trustees, it should be about how we treat each other every day. It's about treat others as you want to be treated, right? So we should be communicating with each other, respecting each other, listening to each other. It's about listening and giving each other the opportunity to voice their opinions and offer their backgrounds and what they bring to the table. regardless of what the conversation is about. If it's a village issue, if it's a personal issue, we all need to listen and respect each other.
I believe there's value in opposing views. To sit down with someone who agrees with you all the time, even within the slates, I'm sure there are opposing views within those slates. I'm a part of the Citizens Empowerment Party slate. We have opposing views there. We don't all see things the same way. So this question, to me, it's not a problem, an issue. We need opposing views. We need to be able to see things from more than one angle. Because if we don't, then our potential is severely limited right now. And I also want to say that, well, I'm just leaving it there because I believe that the diversity of thought, perspective, that brings us back.
First of all, no. I have not served on any committee other than the water committee that was just recently held. Most of that was due to a very hectic work schedule. I did not have Saturdays or Sundays to myself previously. But having the opportunity to serve on the water committee, I had some tearful days because I had an opportunity to go to homes and see how some of our seniors were living. And I had to come back and actually report some of those conditions so that our seniors could be looked at. That being said, I'm very active with the people that live near me. I've helped a couple of people doing their remodifications for their home. Again, I talk to our young people. I'm not afraid of them. I actually go up to them to let them know that there is a better way out there other than the way that they are living. It is now that I have an opportunity to do those things and get more involved, and I thank God because I only have a 9-to-5 job now. I don't have to put in all those extra hours.
Yes, I have currently, and I do currently serve on several committees here in Sauk Village. I have been on Parks and Recs. I was a part of them selecting the Mr. and Mrs. Sauk Village. At that time, I had my own radio show on WYCA, where I invited them to come out to the radio station and talk about the experience of running for Mr. and Mrs. Sauk Village. Also, with the Lake Michigan Water, I was at the distribution when the water was being passed out, as well as getting phone numbers to make sure that certain seniors and people that were disabled, citizens that could not get out, were able to get water by either giving them information where to come and pick up the water or to bring their names and their addresses to the center to have the water distributed to their households. Also, with the Neighborhood Watch, I was implementing that program along with Trustee Myers to make sure that people knew that they had a safe haven and to also to know that they had someone that they could channel their concerns through and to about feeling safe on their blocks, as well as economic development and the Police Alliance. I have served on those as well.
I have not served on any committees that are ordained by the village. However, what part of the village, what have I done in the last 5.5 years? There was a fatherhood program that we had at Rickover Elementary School, junior high school down the street. I purchased radio time on 106.3 or 102.3. And I went on the radio and invited every father that stayed in the village of Sauk Village to come to the basketball game. I brought a DJ in from the radio station. For 3 weeks in a row, we publicized Sauk Village in a positive manner. We have pictures with over 100 men in the gymnasium together playing basketball with their sons. That's what I have done for Sauk Village in the last 5.5 years. Am I on a committee? Yes. On my block, I'm on the committee to stop violence. Whenever I see violence happening, Pops go out on the street and say, not today. Yes, I am on committee. And it's all good.
For the past 4 years since I've been a resident of Sauk Village, I have been elected to be the captain of the neighborhood watch and race, which is a subdivision. I sit around the table with the police department and department chief to find out what's going on in our community. I was trying how we can improve in my subdivision and throughout Sauk Village. Also, I attend all of the mayor's meetings, mostly, if I can, and the trustees meeting to find out good update about what's going on in the community financially and any other crisis or situation. In addition to that, I also hold my neighborhood watch meeting at the Paisley, Center behind Sauk Village Police Station. I give back to my community as much as I can, and I'm still a job today. And that's one of the reasons why I'm here and I'm running for trustees. Thank you.
The last 5 years of involvement for Francine Anderson, there's quite a few. So let's get started. I volunteered recently in the food distribution of the basket that was presented by your former mayor for families who are in need during the holidays, both Thanksgiving and Christmas. I've also participated in the water distribution because of our water crisis, as well as in the past, I helped created and developed the Police Alliance Committee. I was trustee over the senior committee. I am currently the treasurer of the Sauk Village Citizens Empowerment Organization, as well as the vice president and the youth for that organization. We've held health fairs that have been open to the public. I am also now the treasurer of Sauk Village Citizens for Public Awareness, in which we try to keep citizens aware. I'm currently that treasurer. And I've also just been a good neighbor by bringing information from the meetings to all of my residential neighbors who cannot make meetings.
As a trustee for the last 8 years, and even before that, I've been a part of the Public Relations Committee. In that, we hosted Student Government Day. We've helped with the distribution of the Sauk Talk. We've also brought 2 years of fireworks to the village when the village could not afford to do so. We raised funds to bring that to the citizens of Sauk Village. I've helped with the beautification committee in multiple events. Most specifically, probably my favorite was the movie in the park. I think that was a great idea, and I'd love to see that come back. Multiple years of corn and dog roast, from everything to running the games, passing out the prizes, making the corn, selling the hot dogs and the nachos, setting up, cleaning up. Easter egg hunts with multiple chairs, whether it be the Parks and Recs Committee or the Plan Group, helping with that. Multiple spaghetti dinners, taking money, doing the raffles, things like that. The Concerned Citizens Group, their youth group, I've worked with them. The 50th Anniversary Committee, I've worked with them. The Food Basket Drives and the production of the Sauk Village Police Alliance Committee, I did co-chair that with trustee.
I feel like I'm going to be a broken record because I think I've covered this a few times already, but we'll do it again. Parks and Recs, while I was not officially a part of the committee, I volunteered with lots of their different activities throughout the years of Trustee Burgess's leadership. I'm also currently on the Economic Development Committee itself, as well as the Beautification Committee. And just so everybody knows, we just were awarded a grant from Cook County the other day towards our efforts in 2013. So thank you, Barbara Campbell-Pruitt, for obtaining that grant for us. Ordinance review, membership there with helping to amend and develop ordinances for the village. Housing Authority, we used to not only as a commissioner, but we would have different activities in Village Hall where homeowners could come and hear things about how to organize your homes, how to make it ready for spring and summer, things along those lines. The Senior Committee, again, while not a member, helped with some of the activities such as the spaghetti dinners. All kind of came out of the fact that it started with my active involvement in my homeowners association, where I'm still a current member and former president. Thank you.
Over the past 5.5 years, I've been a resident here for 6 years in August. My wife and I, we had a conversation. We said that we are doing so much work, we're writing 7 days a week. And the majority of that work, all of that work, is outside. And I have a nonprofit, Richmond Together, and I work primarily with youth. And we focus on education, enrichment, and mentoring. And I've been mentoring for almost 20 years now. And I mentioned those things to basically show some of the interest and the passion that I have. And these are the things that, when I looked at, I said, these are the things that I need to be doing here in this village. These are the things that I need to be bringing back here. So I don't have the distinction of being able to say that I've been a part of these committees, but these are the interests that I have, networks and abilities that I hope to be able to bring to Sauk.
All right, start out with, I'm on the ordinance review committee with the chair, and that's, everybody knows that. But the other committee is stuff about long-term project, I don't long-term electrical system. 9 times out of 10, I system for the fire department. If you see the fire department apparatus out there, 9 times out of 10, you're going to see them knocking out their motor. Just look for the short, chubby, gray-haired guy. And I enjoy that. I'm here to do what I can. The most recent one that I really enjoyed was Assistant Fifth Santa are great together. And I was again, once again, I played Santa. But this year it was something totally different. I was able to get a merchant to give us toys to give away this year. I think they give away about 130 toys and stuff. And that's the goal to see those little kids' faces and give them something better. And that's what it's all about. Or join the committees, working on for our youth.
Next, another question. This is from Rose. How familiar are you with the municipal, state, and federal statutes, and will you follow through when taking people into office? Also, what about volunteer boards? Do you know them? And how important are they? You know?
Wow, a great question. Being the president, yes, I do know and follow about the rules of order. Also, I do know and understand the government that we have here in Sauk Village. And like any other job, when you first come on board, you have to be trained and learn exactly what you're doing. And I'm looking forward and I'm excited about the opportunity if you elect me to be a trustee to do just that. I know that Sauk Village has approximately a $16 million budget, $16 million budget. And with all the different things that we have to pay and do, all of the different bills that come in, how the money goes out, funding to get the money to come in and to go out, statutes, the ordinances, all the things that it takes to bring the village together so that we can have funding and have money to pay for all of our bills and not just have frivolous spending. It is very crucial to learn and to be a part of the process to make sure that the money is being spent wisely, to follow the statutes, to know and to follow the law, to learn and to follow the rules and governance of this village.
Yes, I'm familiar with the different laws of the land, state, federal, municipalities. In depth, no. The great thing about that is, as a newcomer, I will be able to attend training classes that will teach me the right way to do business, the right way on how to handle different situations in our community and in our municipality. When I say the right way, if I was to follow the example that has been shown over the last few years, I believe I was shipwrecked. So I am grateful to be able to come in as a new trustee, learn from the ground up and relay the information directly from the state with integrity and honesty in a manner that you will understand and help not only me grow, but to help us to grow. Thank you.
Yes, as a resident here, I do know something about the municipality here in Sauk Village. I tune into it every day. I'm possibly playing, but I'm still in the process of learning more as a trustee. And I'm looking forward to that opportunity at this time. We do need as trustees to be in tune with the state laws, the ordinance, and all of the above, in order for us to do a good job here within our village. Thank you.
many of the Sauk Village statutes I've had the opportunity of reading and studying in the past as well as most recently because of some of the situations that were recently going on in our community as well as with our board. So I think the other thing about understanding those particular items, the state and local and federal regs and Robert's Rules of Order is making you a responsible person. It helps you to know what you need to know in order to do the job and do the job well. Thank you.
I think that being familiar with the question regulations is something that's a responsibility of each trustee. I think that as a trustee, and just for your information, it's good to know that the village clerk does have state statute books in her office. Your local libraries, your statutes are online. It's something that as a trustee, it's your responsibility to continue your education and research. Because the legislature and the statute that I know today are going to be completely different tomorrow. If you've ever been to the board meeting, you'll see how quickly we can institute an ordinance or a resolution and just how quickly we will have to remove that and change that because state legislature is different. It's our responsibility to stay on top of that, to continue the research and continue the education.
One of the nice things is that we have so many available tools that will help us with that information, whether it's here at Village Hall, in the library, or online, either the local Sauk Village website or the state website. All that information is in other places, other places as well. Additionally, the South Suburban Mayors and Managers Association offers training for new trustees. So when new trustees are elected, that is out there as an option for them so that they can go and understand what the expectations are of them from not only a roles and responsibility standpoint, but also to understand what they need to know for the ordinances and the rules of the community that they serve. Robert Rules of Order, it's about decorum of meetings and running efficient professional meetings, something that we need to make sure that we adhere to each and every day.
Yes, I am familiar with statutes and ordinances, speaking on the federal, state, or local level. It's good to know that that training is available and is necessary. I consider myself a lifelong learner. I'm always, always have a book. I'm always reading, and I think what Trustee Williams just said, as far as continuing education that is necessary, that's a must. Professional development, it's a must. You can't stay stagnant. You have to keep your eyes and ears open. As far as Robert's Rules of Order goes, I sit in more meetings than I care to. And there is nothing as, nothing as depressing as sitting in an unproductive meeting. So Robert's Rules of Order is one of those things that if it's followed properly, it helps you have an efficient meeting, stay on task, and get things done, which is what I hope to be able to do as a servant, as a trustee.
Yes, I know the state statute. I deal with it every day of the week, either through Sauk or through Stater. I probably at least 2 or 3 hours a day. I'm grabbing either one of the books, especially state statutes, and trying to find out. I deal with the residents over there just as much as I deal with the residents over here. So yes, it is the biggest thing. People make an error and don't know how to read state statutes. And there is the American Manager is excellent tool for that. All new trustees take Robert Rules of Order. All committees I sit on. About a few different gentlemen next to me said, incredibly secretary budget. Yeah, if you don't have Robert's Rules of Order in line, you're going to have a very loud meeting. Not all over the place. People should pay much more. You must have some type of Robert's Rules of Order in place. That's what it's
I've actually been elected to boards outside of Sauk Village, so I am familiar with Robert's Rules of Order. That being said, I don't care what position you go into, there is training available. I took it upon myself when I went back to school recently, even though I don't need this class, I took U.S. government so that I'm better in line with what we need to do here. And I was given a gift of the state statute book. I spend a lot of time in Prairie State's library making sure that I study so that I can understand and do what's needed to do here. And like Rosie said, laws, ordinances, those things change constantly. And the legal industry is called CLE, which is continuing legal education. Same thing for us. We need to continue the education so that we make sure that we stay up to date. So it doesn't matter what I learned this moment, it may change tomorrow or the next day. We just need to stay abreast.
Questions for one thing?
Francis, let's see, Sharon, and Michelle. Multiple people asking questions.
All right, I'll try to make this as fast as possible. To a degree, I do understand the finances of the village. I have sat in quite a few meetings and have watched the reports come forth. I do understand the legal obligation of keeping the accounts separate. And yes, I plan to honor those budgets that are put into place. Now, I believe money coming to the village multiple ways. I believe it's our job not only to exhaust and utilize the funds we have and the appropriate accounts that there are mentioned, for instance, i.e. water account money should not go to police and fire. Senior citizen money should not go to youth development, which is a lot of what I see now, intermingling of funds. This is quite, amazing that this question is being asked. Legal obligation. When I was in banking, one of the things we were taught is how not to check kitty, how not to switch money from one account to another account, not having monies to cover the check that you wrote from one account to another. Yes, I understand all that, and with all that being said, the time is gone. Thank you so much, have a great day.
Yes, I do understand the finances as far as within the village, as far as learning to understand the budget and all of the above. Even as I have viewed the budget of the village at times and went over that information. Most of the money that comes into the village can come into various ways. It can come in through our cars, as far as buying tickets. It can come in through property taxes. It can come in numerous ways, as far as just writing a ticket for someone doing a violation in a separate. Yes, that should be in a separate account. It shouldn't go into one account. It should be individually, I believe. And that's the way it is at this time. I hope so. And I will be working diligently as a trustee to understand more about our financial issues within the municipal center. Thank you.
I understand the legal obligations of working within our budget, I think it's very important that we go back to really looking at mismanagement of the money. So thus for, we do need to work within our budget, and our village trustees should never, again, have a budget that does not take in our debt services. Because if we never start paying off our debts, as a part of the monies that we do have, then we're going to continue to drown further and further into our debt. I think a good way of looking at our finances is to look at it just as we would within your home. You cannot maintain your home if you continue to have a deficit, if you continue to spend more money than you have. And you cannot do that. If you ever don't pay your bills, then sooner or later, your home is going to collapse. So just like our town has collapsed financially, because we have passed a budget that did not have any debt services the last budget. That cannot ever happen. Thank you.
Try to answer the question as concisely as possible because there's multiple parts. Number one, understanding what a budget is, yes, I've sat in the budget meetings for the past 8 years. I know what the budget consists of. I know of the funds that we have, and I know the need to separate them and keep them finite and separate. I also understand where the money does come in. I encourage village residents to know that the budget is available to you through Village Hall. It's available online. It's also available through the Macomb Public Library. Review the budget, because you will see where our expenditures go and where we expect to receive our revenues. Expect is the key word. We put in a budget to expect to receive a certain amount of money through property tax, through sales tax, through tickets and things like that. If those monies do not come in, then that would be detriment to the village. I would, again, encourage you to look at that. It's part of the budget meeting. Budget meetings are public. They've been here, we don't get a lot of people at the budget meetings, but if you go there and you're sitting at the meeting, you will see how difficult it is to know what money we have versus where it needs to go and make sure the services remain for the village residents.
I have participated in a couple of budget meetings as clerk when I was serving as clerk in 2007 to 2009, so I do know what the process is about. In my professional side of my life, I've also been responsible for budgeting, both from a managerial perspective for the staff for which I'm responsible, but also from a vendor management standpoint for a vendor budget in excess of $25 million a year. It's about living within our means as a village. As Rosie mentioned, we are responsible primarily for taking in our money through two primary sources. It's our property taxes and it's our sales tax. Property taxes, obviously, given the financial crisis around us, you know, the expectation of what we take in from a property tax perspective has really changed in the last 5 years, you know, because things started to fall apart in 2007, 2008. I said in 2009 when I ran for clerk at the time that we had a lot of difficult financial decisions ahead of us. I'm saying it again today. The last administration did not take that to heart, and this one needs to.
Yes, I do understand the various income streams that operates the village. And I absolutely not only would agree to, but it's a necessity working within a budget. A working budget, you can't get business done without having a budget. And I do understand right now that we have a deficit. It's been, and I've heard figures from 1.6 to 2.8 billion. That is our deficit right now. We have to have a balanced budget. We need to get back in line. So I'm absolutely committed to that. We can't continue to borrow from people to pay calls. And one of the things, one of the areas of expertise that I do have, that I've been able to do successfully in the nonprofit sector is go out and find funds. And that's something that we need to increase the access to capital that we have, because we don't want to incur that burden on our citizens.
Yes, I understand the budget process. Not only assisting here during the last few years during the budget, but my job, I have to serve my own department budget and submit one in for approval. So I know how the budget runs, and I know how to put one together. It's not that for the trustee to look at. Budget items and spending money from another department. Well, you have to look at a couple of things. One, we did not anticipate the biggest thing that every town around us did the same everything. With Cook County and the state owes you not $100, so they owe $1 million. They owe us about $2 million now. And that's tax dollars. And we are getting tax dollars in, but we're not getting enough in. The finance director told me, I asked him about borrowing from Peter, Pay, and Paul. He said, it's permissible, but you got to pay back. And that's where we're falling short of. So once again, I will request to set up a finance committee, and the finance committee will deal with the board of trustees.
I think the framers of that question wanted to know two things. Are we going to be ethical about what comes into this village as money, or are we going to misappropriate funds? That's what they want to know. The bottom line is misappropriation of funds is just not good. Continuing to raise our tax dollars to cover garbage that we're not handling properly is not good. We have to learn a better way to use those funds that come into this village appropriately. Like some of the other people say, we have to go outside of our community to make sure we get funds in, and legally, we have to make sure we do what is supposed to be done with those funds. Keep them separated and not count our chickens, because before our eggs are cracked, is that the old saying that people used to use? We've got to be more accountable and do what we need to do with those funds that come in.
It was a multiple question with several answers, and like you said, we have 1 minute, but in a perfect world, as you know, if you've been doing out to the meetings, we have the current administration have been paying a lot of bills out of the water fund. And if you go, we're dealing with the water and trying to restructure, getting like Michigan water, we need all the money in the water fund to stay there to make that happen. We don't need to continue to borrow money from different funds and different tips to do other things in the village. But we do need to find a way to generate more money, more revenue, so that we can keep the things flowing in the village and pay for by the different line items that they have. And I'm familiar with that by being an administrative assistant for the school district. We have line items for the athletic department, for the principal's office, for teachers, supplies, and we have line items with great amounts of budgets. But we have to keep within that frame. So I do understand keeping money separate. I do understand not overspending money and sticking to a very strict budget.
Okay, now we have one more that needs to have first question. That's Jackie. Question would be, if elected, what would your ethical responsibility be to the people of Sauk Village? Will you lead them untruthfully to get your program, that of your friends promoted?
Personally, as a trustee, our vision and experience would be to work closely with the staff, within the community, and to work ethically with everyone, and not unethically, and not to be biased and opinionated.
I think being ethical means being honest, having some integrity, also being responsible, and making sure that you're completing the task, making sure you're being inclusive, which will be a part of being ethical, and then also making sure that you are adding something to be progressive. Being ethical, meaning that we're truthful with all the residents, and making sure that everyone has some ideas of exactly what type of character you bring, and that you will be ethical in rendering those services.
I think the best way that you can remain ethical as a trustee is to understand your responsibility to stay educated. When things are changing around you, whether it be citizens' concerns, whether it be ordinances, resolutions, different rules, it's your responsibility to stay educated on those laws so you don't go outside the box. As far as the second part of that question, to leading residents to your plan unethically, should never even be an option for anybody sitting in this seat. If you want somebody to agree with your way of thinking, the best way you can do that is to educate. You need to remain educated yourself, but you need to educate your residents. If they don't understand, or if they're having a problem with your plan, maybe it's because you're not providing it to them clearly enough. People will disagree, and that's a part of life. But if you provide them with your side, then you have a better chance of leading them to your plan.
It's a sad state where we have to ask that question, isn't it? I have to sign an ethics statement at work every year to talk about what my outside interests are, what boards I'm involved with. So if elected, I'm going to have to declare that with my employer during the day. And I need to make sure that if a situation comes up financially, that I'm going to have to recuse myself from being involved. Now, trust me, I don't think that's going to happen because my employer, moons would have to collide before they would be doing business with Sauk Village, just because of the business that they're in. So, but, you know, I don't want to say that I'm offended, but I guess I'm hurt that we had to ask that question, because it's always about who is the right person for the job. It's not about, you know, I've got a brother that needs a job, or, you know, this buddy of mine, I owe him a favor. No, it's about who is qualified to get the job done.
I share that sentiment, that it's unfortunate that we live in the times that we do, where corruption has become such commonplace in government on so many levels. But I would add to that question, not just ethical, but being moral. And my own personal sense of morality that, I mean, I just find it unconscionable that an individual would come into a position that is a service position. We're here to serve the residents. You're not here for your own personal enrichment. And that said, there's absolutely no way in the world that I would approach this position looking for my own personal gain. I come to this position, I'm seeking your vote as a servant to do what is best for the village, for all of us, not for my own personal gain.
I share the opinion of the rest of them. The question is, should never been asked, however, we did. I don't think anybody out of mind is going to come in a position and try to take this not out there to do something. I do think there's several opportunities that we need to educate residents where they like something done, sit down and explain to them, if it could be done. Bring it up to the trustees. Get out and open. Don't have to. There's too many secret squirrel meetings going around. And, you know, have it out in the open. But once again, each and every one of us has decided when you take this job. My answer is to working with the residents, make sure they understand us.
I agree. It's difficult to ask that question, but it's because the village no longer trusts that question has been asked. But I can say this to say, I was the president of a choir for 10 years. My mother a part of that choir. And everybody thought I was the coolest person in the world because my mother got no favoritism. And that's my mom, because I was a leader first. If I'm a leader, I cannot show favoritism, and it does not matter who's under me. That's the reality of this. It's not about favoritism, it's about getting the job done. And I took it upon myself with my employer to go in and say, hey, this is what I want to do. Is there an ethics issue? Because I didn't want to get so far down the line and they come back and say, you didn't tell me, or you cannot do that. It was important enough for me to make sure I looked into those areas first and foremost.
To answer the question, yes. That's why I chose to run as an independent candidate. After careful thought and careful consideration, I made up in my mind that I did not want to be a rubber stamp for anyone. I made up in my mind that I did not want to just be a yes person because someone was my friend, or this was the program that they wanted to do, and I would get on the agenda regardless of whether I felt it was best for the village and the residents of Sauk Village or not. Just because they had an agenda and I knew them for a long time, I didn't want to be obligated. That's why I made up my mind to run as an independent candidate. I would only have to be accountable to the voters that selected and gave me the opportunity to serve and to be not only their voice, but their eyes and their ears to hear and to see what's going on. So yes, I will run as a person that you can trust and that will have integrity to come back and give you the facts. Not to tickle your ears what you want to hear based on someone that I owe because I'm on the slate, but because of what I know, because I ran for you, the people of Sauk Village.
Everyone has said pretty much that it's sad for this question to have to be asked. I think it's a wise person to ask this question because of what they have seen. And if you have sat in this village hall and witnessed any of these meetings, this question is being asked because of what we have seen. So to answer this question, every 2 years as a licensed insurance agent with my life and health licenses, I have to take ethical training. And as I take that training, ethics seems to be an ever-evolving issue, not only in insurance, but period, in life. I don't believe in the good old buddy mentality of helping my friends grow with me as I grow. I am a true leader. I believe in helping each and every person get the best opportunity that's available to them. And in order to do that, ladies and gentlemen, we have to stop and look at what has happened these past few years and say, will business go on as usual, or are we going to elect people that's going to bring about a change? Thank you.
Okay, now we come to the closing, and the closing is in reverse order, and for 1 minute. That's, so your closing statement starting with Ed, and we will limit down this way. The first closing.
Oh, that's funny. I wrote on my paper, good guys finish last. It's right here. There's a quote that says, the last shall be first and the first shall be last. I believe that Sauk Village, my home, is a place that I can bring about change. I'm not saying I know it all. I'm not saying that I can do it all. I'm saying I'm willing to listen, I'm willing to learn, and I'm willing to do what's needed for us to make our home a better community. Not just for me, not just for you, not just for you, but for us. And if elected, I guarantee you, integrity you won't have to worry about. I am a man of integrity, and I always have been. That's why my slogan is the good guys finish last, because I seem to finish last in a lot of things, but I don't mind putting my feelings aside. I don't mind putting me aside for the betterment of my group, of my team, and of my community. Thank you, God bless, and see you in April.
I would just like to say that, first of all, it's a great opportunity to be able to serve the citizens of the village of Sauk Village. And I'm asking for your support to vote for me on April the 9th to be one of the 4 trustees that you select, 3 with a 4-year term, 2 are going to be running with a 2-year term. I'm asking for your support because I feel that I bring a lot to the table, not only with just knowledge, but also with patience and with integrity and with a vision that we have together. People ask me, what are you going to do if you get in office? That's what we have now. And that's what we had, not now, but in the previous administration was a dictatorship. We no longer need dictators. We need a team of people working together for our residents in Sauk Village. And I want to be an independent thinker. Again, I don't want to be a person that just say yes because my friend is in charge or I've been on the slate. I don't push slates. I push independent candidates because when you win, you don't owe anybody anything but the residents. I want to work for you. I want the opportunity to serve you. And I hope that on April the 9th, you will elect me, Linda Washington, as one of your 4-year term trustees.
One of the things I have to say is Socrates was wise because he realized he was not the wisest person in the world. He realized that he had to ask questions in order to get to a final solution. That being said, you're asking me what will I do as a trustee for you. I'm asking you, what are you going to require of me to do the job effectively and get the job done? I'm a citizen as well. And I have to listen to what you want in order to get the job done effectively. So I am hoping that you will elect me I am on a slate, and I know, no man in allegiance but myself. I am independent, but I have the ideals of that slate in mind. So I'm hoping that you guys will vote for Carla Phillips as trustee on April the 9th, 2013.
All right, I'm not Myers, once again, I'm asking to be reelected. I've gone through the unit team, and we have a slate that is unbeatable, or I don't like to think so. We're asking for your vote. In closing, there's several problems I've outlined, and I'm going to mention a few of them that the village needs to work together and get that established before we move forward. We need to continue to meet the requirements of the Attorney General and the EPA and working with them to acquire and proceed in getting liquid water. We need a major finance problem. We definitely have. We need procedures put in place. We need to, once again, be able to obtain our double-pay rates and moving bonds, certain laws. Again, we must address the housing issues now. I think that's proposed for. We must bring back transparency to the village. Thank you.
My name is Terry Pelmy. I'm a student of leadership. And there's one particular way that you can gauge leadership, and that is, how does it replicate itself? And who is that leadership serving? Now, leadership, in my estimation, it is about serving as authentic and as authentically and as humbly as you possibly can, as many as you can. So it's a matter of sincerity. It is my desire to serve this village. Now, what's going on in Sauk Village is not an isolated incident. There are municipalities across the state, across the country, that are having budget issues, that are having service problems, that are having issues of changing demographics. But in closing, I would say that we will rise or fall together. And nothing changes until our hearts change. So I'm asking that we make that conscious decision for our hearts to change and vote for me, God willing, April 9th.
Leaders know when to lead and when to follow. They also know when they need to really shut their mouths and listen. And that's what this board needs to do, day in and day out. This is not a popularity contest. We are here to run a multi-million-dollar business. And in order to do that, I know I can contribute as a trustee and be a valued resource to this community that I call home, but I need your help to do that. Today, tomorrow, especially on April 9th, and then on April 10th and every day after that, after I'm a trustee. I'm Beth Zupon. I'm running for a 4-year term, and I'd like your vote. Thank you.
First of all, I'd like to thank everybody for coming out tonight. I'd like to thank Rose and Barb for monitoring us. I'd also like to thank the senior committee for hosting us. And I would like to encourage education. I've said that multiple times today. That's been something I've been very hard pushing. In the Sauk Talks in the back, you'll see every candidate who was given the opportunity to provide their plan. Every candidate was given the opportunity to introduce themselves to you. I encourage you to research that. I encourage you to see which candidate is most closely mirrors your plan for progression in Sauk Village. I've said before multiple times, I don't want you to vote for me because you like the color of my skin. I don't want you to vote for me because you like what I'm wearing today. I want you to vote for me because my plan matches what you see for Sauk Village. Again, thank you for your coming out today. Thank you for everybody. And again, your support on April 9th. Thank you very much.
I'm Francine Anderson, and I'm asking for you to give me your vote as trustee for the 4-year term. I'm asking you to look at Sauk Village as a place of change, because change is inevitable. It is something that we all live through, and our citizens in our town can progress through this change by using a strategic plan to bring Sauk Village back to a place where others will want to live and raise their children. I would like to see that change to bring us through to a community where we can work together and grow together, where we can seek some funding to end our unbalanced budget, where we can follow through on the citizens' mandate for clean water, where we can have activities for every level of citizens, from our children to our seniors, from our middle age to our youth. We want to seek solutions to end the numerous break-ins, to find some support for our police department. And also, I'm asking you to vote for Francine Anderson and the Citizens Empowerment Party, because we have a plan that will strategically bring Sauk Village back to a place of pride.
Yes, I, Jacqueline Clemens, is looking for your vote and support for a 4-year term as a trustee here in Sauk Village. In addition to that, I'm looking forward for us to fix our financial debt issues and to improve the water crisis that we have at this time. And in addition to that, I would like to be very resourceful, to play as a team player with the leader, as far as the mayor, Vincent, and other trustees, to get this problem corrected, because it's been going on far too long, and we need to make a change. And thank you, please. I will support your vote if you vote for me. Thank you.
I want to thank the candidates who appeared. Unfortunately, 5 of them did not appear. One of them, I guess, is called emergency work. I did not get a response from the other 4. We will have refreshments out in the lobby. Please keep all food items out there. And there are campaign literatures out there from the various groups that put them out there. And they have been asked to remove them after the form because they will be disposed of if they're not taken. Thank you to everyone. And the audience will be so orderly. Thank you very much.
Yeah,